All right, everyone, welcome back to another game of Go. And this is an exciting game for me today because I at least I can do a commentary on down level players. And if you're fairly new to the game and you're just beginning and starting your Go journey, I'm just gonna explain how the ranking system works because that was one thing that was very confusing when I first started. So before we get started, I'm just gonna introduce the players really quick. We have two really talented players. Clossius, he is a fantastic player. He's a 2 Dawn player. He is the player in white currently for this game. And if you guys haven't ever heard of Clossius, please do check him out on his YouTube, Twitch, or even Discord handle. The links will be down below. And his opponent is a Chinese player. I don't know how to read Chinese, but if you guys can translate that name, hopefully it's an appropriate name. But if you guys can translate that name, that would be great. Because he is a level at a 1 Dan ranking. And so this is all on OGS. And so currently I am reviewing the game on OGS live time while they are playing this match. And so currently right now, what we're seeing is a battle in the top left-hand corner. Not Clossius. Excuse me. The Chinese player decides to invade in Clossius' area right here by playing on that 3-3 mark. Now, Clossius responds by saying, hey, you're going to take my corner. I don't want you to take my corner. This is a typical Joseki pattern. And so what he's going to do is he's going to extend, and he's probably going to extend him even more, and then probably try to go down and block the black stones off like that, where the red marks are. So he's going to try to build a wall right here. This is a typical Joseki pattern. And you can see the Blackstones kind of understands how the pattern works. So he's going to play ahead and try to break that typical patterning. Okay. And because, if you can break a typical pattern, you can throw your opponents off rhythm. And a lot of times a Go game is not only do you understand the techniques, the different patternings, the reason why those patternings exist, but it's also more of a psychological thing where you're trying to throw off your opponent's rhythm and take control psychologically in the game itself. And this is one of the benefits of playing in person, because when you're playing in person against someone, you can feel what they feel. You can feel the stress. You can feel the excitement. You can feel a lot of emotion, which unfortunately on online platform cannot capture just yet. But if you have no one to play around in person, then online is the next best thing, which is in my case right now, because there's no one around in my area that plays Go. So me playing online, that is what I currently do. But now I'm going to explain a little bit about the Q and Dawn ratings while they're playing right here. Just know that Clossius is going to start building the wall. He's going to start trying to fortify this left side right here, while the Blackstones are going to start bordering right here. So this is the initial draw out of the territory, and we are in the opening phases of the game. So during the opening phases of the game, this is where both players are going to try to stake out their territory and try to plan for the mid and late game. However, while you're doing that, also keep in mind to try to throw your opponents off, invade, prod, or just become a nuisance to the opponent, so it drags their attention away from the rest of the board into the area of conflict, which is what Clossius is doing right here. He's just responding right here in this top corner with a disconnect. So the reason why Clossius played the stone right here is to disconnect these black stones from each other. And so the Chinese player is going to respond by doing an Atari move, threatening this stone right here. Let me get my blue pen out. Threatening this stone right here. And so what Clossius has to do in order to defend that stone is to extend out. Now notice the black stone right here is also doing another threatening move, which is going to force Clossius to either sacrifice that stone or find a way to prevent it. But unfortunately, in this position, this white stone is ultimately going to be sacrificed. The reason being is because Clossius doesn't have enough wiggle room, especially with only a 1-line difference, to be able to defend it properly. So if Clossius was to extend, say that the red stones right here is him, and the black stones is or the black stones is the blue circle. Essentially, what the Chinese player can do is this, and eventually these red stones would be captured. Okay, so Clossius understands the next several moves. If he tries to save that single stone, he can't. So what he's going to do is sacrifice that stone. All right, you can take that single stone, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to play elsewhere. I'm going to Tanuki out. Tanuki just means to play elsewhere, away from the conflict, and try to gain some other influence around the board. And so that's exactly what he did. He played on the star point, or this point. I can't remember which point he played on, but I believe it was the star point, mid star point, as it was several stones ago. And so that's essentially what's happening. And so now black is responding and saying, hey, look, I can see that the white stones are now trying to extend out. Clossius looks like he's trying to bubble in these black stones right here. And this could potentially prove a nuisance for these black stones right there. If Clossius is able to do this round, if he's able to play a stone like maybe right here, a horse distance away, a knight's distance away, sorry, he might be able to start building that barrier. Okay. But again, having a stone out in the middle of nowhere is prone to be attacked. So you always want to be very close to at least a neighboring stone of yours, just for a strength, so that you can always retreat back into the safety of your own, what do you call it? Your own background. Not background, own units. There we go. Own units. Anyways, a lot of times I'm trying to catch up with my thinking. So as they're still playing, I'm going to explain just a little bit for the new players how the ranking system works. So when you first start out and you first open an OGS account, which is free, by the way, so please, by all means, go to OGS onlinego.com or type in OGS on Google and look for the Go website. But when you open up a free account and you start playing, you are generally going to be ranked around a 15K. Now, 15K is just a general rank that all new players are going to be put on. And depending on how well you play or how poorly you play, you'll either rank up or rank down. Now, having a higher number in a Q level, which is KYU, Q level, is not a good thing. It just means that the bigger the number, the weaker you are. And so it's fairly common for very beginning players to have a higher Q number. Myself, I believe the highest I've gone was a 22Q when I first started. And so this is just something that we have to get used to. It's just telling us, hey, you got to look at the patterns. You got to understand how the rules are played, or just know that surrounding liberties might cause an issue if you don't pay attention to your stones. And so it goes all the way to 30Q max for the player that plays extremely random and doesn't link their stones whatsoever. So that's just the lowest ranking that you can get. And as you get better, your number in the K level, the Q level, is going to go down. And so the lower your number for the Q standing, the better you are. So a 10Q is going to be better than an 18Q. And a 1Q is going to be better than a 10Q. Okay. And that just shows with experience, with the length of play that you've had, whether it's a year, 2 years, or even 5 years or more. It just shows that you are growing. And it's a good way to keep yourself motivated. It's like, hey, I got to get rank up. I got to get to the 5Q mark. I got to get to the 1Q. But once you pass the 1Q mark, it doesn't go to 0Q. It actually transitions into a Dan level or a D level. And so once you get past that, now you are going into the amateur route. Amateur route is probably around 3Qs and up, in my opinion. Okay, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, it's around 3Qs or up. And as you go further and further into the game, you can rank up to 1 Dan, 2 Dan, 3 Dan, 4 Dan, 5 Dan, all the way up to 9 Dan, which is the max. And then you hit the professional status, throughout that time as if you keep playing. And so the professional Don versus the amateur Don, I don't know the difference too much. So if you guys can help me out, please link down below or comment down below so that I learn with you guys. And so, huge disclaimer, I'm not a professional Go player. I just love the game, and hence why I am doing a commentary right now. But enough of that, because we got to get back to the game, because there's so many things that's happening. So right now, what's happening is that Clossius has fully solidified this right side right here. He's trying to pretty much take this territory while having the Chinese player squeeze in this area. Again, remember, the first opening moves is that the Chinese player moved at this star point, the 4-4 star point on the top right-hand corner. And so Clossius understands that this corner might be his. So instead of having his influence expand all the way out over here and over here, Clossius is going to try to prevent him from spreading out too much. And so what we see right here is a very good move by Clossius defending his group of 4 stones. Now, why is this such a good move? Why is moving right here a really good move? The reason why is because it prevents the capturing of these 4 stones in case that the black moves here and here. Again, these 4 stones only have 2 more liberty. And this white stone right here on the, is it Q? No, it's O19 route, prevents the Chinese player from playing right here immediately. And the reason why is because if the Chinese player plays right here, then Clossius can easily play on this corner and capture that stone, which will free up another liberty and give Clossius more time to connect the stones together and then be able to hold an open escape, essentially. Okay, and so that move is a brilliant move for us amateur players or beginning players. Even myself, I have to keep in mind to remember that type of move, because if I don't, I'm going to lose this whole group. Anyways, and so what we're seeing right now is Clossius is starting to do that surround. Like I said earlier in the match, he's starting to do that surround. He doesn't want these black groups to spread out and connect with the rest of its friends. And so in doing so, Clossius is most likely going to cut right here to disconnect these black groups together. Again, I don't know. Well, at least I would have done that, but he decides to play all the way down here. Now, this is a great move because right now, black really wants to connect his groups over here, but they might be reading further ahead. Again, depending on my level right now, I cannot see more than 5 or 6 moves ahead. At their level, they might be able to see 10, 20 moves ahead. Who knows? But that only comes with experience. And so what Clossius sees might be something different. And so he probably senses that there might be some danger by letting this black group right here have this whole entire territory. And in the game, in this particular matchup, this isn't a normal Japanese rule match. Typically, if you are a white player, white stone, you're going second, and you are playing a Japanese rule, technically you should be having a 6.5 point advantage at the beginning of the game. But if you actually take a look right here on the top right hand corner under Clossius's name, he only has a 0.5 point advantage. That means that they are pretty much playing a very even game. Clossius gave up those extra 6 points. And again, if you guys are more experienced in the game of Go than I am, please tell me, what is this called? But he's pretty much giving up that 6 point lead advantage by being the opponent that goes second. Again, the Chinese player was able to go first. He had the advantage of starting the momentum of the game, but Clossius, being of a higher rank than he is, decides to give up the 6 point Komi, the extra 6 points. So any territory that the Black Stones have, Clossius now is at a 6 point disadvantage. So he wants to reduce the amount of territories available for the Black Stones. And so that's exactly what he's doing. Now he's trying to gather this corner right here. And what he just did was he disconnected this stone from the rest of the crowd. And so this stone is essentially would most likely be captured if Clossius doesn't watch out for any further disconnect, because right now his white stones right here are in trouble as well. And so the perfect move, yes, is to play a tiger's mouth move where you Atari this. Now, the opponent might respond by doing his own Atari, exactly what he does. He does his own Atari to prevent Clossius from expanding even further. So, yes, you might have to sacrifice this stone, but in return, I'm able to expand out just a little bit more to strengthen my border. Okay. And so it forces Clossius to move in an area, and that steals away the momentum from Clossius because Clossius was one that gained that momentum, and now the Chinese players took that away. And a lot of times you want to hold that momentum. You want to hold that sente. I think it's called sente. You want to hold that sente so that you have the opportunity to play the moves that you want and not have to respond as frequently. Okay. And so right here, what we're seeing is that the game, Clossius is now not only was he originally trying to box these stones in right here, but because he has such a strong middle playthrough right here, a strong middle group right here, it's very strong. He can easily start expanding out and start spreading out so that he can take over the center of the board. And right now Black's group seems to be very spread out. I'm not too sure about this. Again, they might be seeing something that I don't, but it looks like Black does want to extend and connect his stones right here, so that it prevents Clossius from pretty much going down and cutting these two stones off from the rest of the crowd, which in turn destroys the territory of this whole area right here. Okay, so if Clossius was successful, he would have claimed this territory as his own. Excuse me. He would claim this territory as his own, and Black will be left with these territories over here. Okay, and so he doesn't want that. Black doesn't want that. He wants to gain, he wants to keep that territorial advantage because he currently, if we actually draw out where the territories are, Black's territory is right here so far. It's probably in this region so far. It was right here, okay, just a little bit, and potentially over here so far. So Black does have a strong lead in terms of territorial points. However, Clossius does understand this. Right now, he has this little region over here. Oops, a little bit of this region right there, as well as this region, and potentially the whole center. As you can see, the outline of the white stones right here. He could potentially be having that. So actually, right now, Black is at a disadvantage if he cannot reduce White's territory. So let's keep watching. Let's keep watching what happens. But right now, what happened was that Black disconnected White from here, and now he's going to extend to protect his stones from getting surrounded. So whenever you do a disconnect or whenever you cut, it's always a good idea in the next move to extend when possible. Now, if you have a better move than extension, then please play that move. But if currently you don't, if you aren't able to see any good moves, then when in doubt, just extend. At least it will prolong the stone's life that you have placed right here, and it wouldn't be such a waste of a move. Okay, a lot of Go is about efficiency of the stone. So the more value you can get out of the stone in terms of territorial marking, in terms of backup units, in terms of annoyance to the opponent, the better. Okay, and so right now Clossius is playing in the center right here. He's going to fortify this white group right here. He's not going to allow the Chinese player to take the surround on this stone right here. Okay, and so the Chinese player understands this. He says, okay, well, I cannot break through this wall right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fortify as much of the center as I can. I'm going to try to claim this territory for my own. As I can see, you are already surrounding me right here. So as long as I can take majority of the points away from you, you can keep the extra 15 points, but I'm going to gain 20 points rather than let you have it. And so that's exactly what he's trying to do. And right now, Clossius understands this. He's like, you know what? I can see what you're trying to box me in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a stone right here to disconnect your territory and shrink it down even more. Okay. And so Right now, it's looking kind of bad for black. But you can see Clossius is just squeezing the life out of this black group right here. He's just squeezing them out, and he's reducing so much of that black's territory that eventually, white's gonna have a huge advantage in terms of territorial count, and it's amazing. And look right here, Clossius decides to invade inside the center of the bubble. You might think this might be a hard move to defend, but it's not. It's just a move that really annoys the opposing player. And again, it's about 3 stones away from the closest neighboring stone, and 2 stones right here. So if the Chinese player plays here, then Clossius most likely will try to find a way to play down and disconnect these 2 stones right here. Remember, these stones are not connected just yet, and so when there is a chance, if you can cut it, that would be beneficial, and you can pretty much break the chain away from the stones here and here. Okay. So when in doubt, I mean, Clossius can easily play a position such as right here for white, and that will be able to box in these 4 stones right here, opening up the gap of the black stone group right here, if that makes sense. Okay, at least this is what I'm seeing from my current level in Go. And so right now, the Chinese player does not like the idea that Clossius is invading his bubble. He's going to try to surround these 3 groups, but in doing so, Clossius is forcing moves from the Chinese player in hopes that he reduces even more of his territory, screws up, and then forces a withdrawal or a capture of a good chunk of stones, just a good chunk of stones. Okay, and so what's happening right now is Clossius is trying to extend up. If Clossius is able to play here, then he is protected by the liberties of these white stones. But the Chinese player understands that that is a potential issue, so he's going to play here. Right now, this white group has 2 liberties. However, this black stone only has 2 liberties as well, and it is Clossius' move. So now we are going to be undergoing a Atari race. And so what's happening is that Clossius is pretty much forcing black to either play here or elsewhere, give up that stone. But with that being said, the Chinese player understands that this stone, unfortunately, he could not save because there was also another Atari right here. That was a double Atari move. And so when in doubt, if you can get yourself in a double Atari move, if you can initiate that double Atari move, you pretty much steal the momentum away from the opposing player and are able to capture and open up a liberty spot surrounding your stones. And so that's exactly what Clossius did right here. He's opened up 2 more liberties, which is going to form 2 eyes. And so this whole white group right here is now alive, and Clossius has done it. He has broken through the black's barricade right here, the original barricade being that big. Clossius has broke through. He has penetrated, and now he is gathering a lot more territory, shrinking black's territory quite a bit. And so what's happening right here is now Clossius is trying to gain whatever remaining territory that he can, and black sees this. He's going to try to stop it, but unfortunately, Clossius, he understands that that could potentially be an issue. He could easily play at the A4 or the B4 route to block off this, and if the Chinese player decides to try to group up and connect, Clossius, all he has to do is disconnect the 2 stones, the black stones right here, by playing in these 2 positions. And if he does do that successfully, these stones right here, these 4, 5, or even 6 stones are essentially free points. And so if the Chinese player does see that, then he might want to start playing where he can connect this stone to the rest of the group. Okay, but we don't see that just yet. And so right here, Clossius is going in for the kill. He does not like that these black stones are here. He's going to try to separate these black stones all together. And what's going to happen is that now Clossius might be forced to play in one of these two positions. Unfortunately, he cannot play on the a7 route. That leads him into a self-Atari, and that's something you don't want to do on yourself because there's an open liberty spot right here. But in order to save his white group right here, he has to play in a way where he can potentially form two eyes later on in case black decides to play somewhere on those two points. Okay. So now Clossius is smelling blood, and unfortunately he wasn't able to play here. He's able to connect them, but the good news is what Clossius can see is that, you know what, you can take this group right here, but what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to break your 4 stones right here. And so that's what the Chinese player is thinking. But what Clossius is thinking is like, hey, you know what, this whole black group, all of this right here is going to die. The reason being is because you do not have 2 solid eyes. If anything, I can try to take away your liberties. I can play my white stone here, break that stone away, and then play a stone here, and then break that away. Although it's very hard, mind you, but these are not very strong positions for black. And if black does successfully make 2 eyes, which he might have already done, but if he does successfully make 2 eyes, look at the territory. Look at the territory that black has. It's extremely small. It's like that's pretty much what he's been reduced down to. Originally, he was, I believe, around this area, and now he's only in this little quadrant now. So Clossius has successfully really drastically reduced the amount of territory available to this player. Okay. And so the game's gonna keep going, and it looks like we might be closing in near towards the end of the mid game, or even towards the end game itself. I mean, yeah, Clossius can play a little bit more right here. He could try to do something, but unfortunately, for black's case, a lot of the points is pretty much gone. I mean, Clossius pretty much took over this whole section right here. And so we'll see what happens, but it's not looking good for black. It really isn't looking good for black right now. Clossius is able to start disconnecting stones right here, capturing these freebie points. And if black responds by placing or connecting, 1, he's losing a liberty spot, but 2, Clossius can easily just connect his stones again and fortify his positioning. So it's not looking good. It really isn't, and you know, we'll see what happens. But I think this was the move. I think this was the move right here. This move. Hello? Yes. Yes. So Clossius won. Clossius won. Black resigned, and Clossius is now the victor. Wow. What a game. And there's a lot of moves right here at my current level that I don't see. So if you guys are better Go players, please list down below for us newbies, us amateurs, so that we understand what is going on. But that was my take, and I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying this. And again, at the beginning, I just a couple moves ago, I did say that the positioning for black is not that great right now, even though black does have some territory right here and some territory right here and this whole territory right here. But with Clossius, he was able to take this whole territory. Essentially, he was able to take this whole territory as well, and potentially a lot of the center region right here. If he just kept playing, he probably would have been doing fairly well. He was also able to take a good chunk of this corner right here, as well as this corner right here. And so I think black saw that. Black saw that a lot of the middle group right here is going to die out. A lot of the sides is not a full, a full eye just yet. And he was in danger. It really came down to that. He was just in danger. I mean, this might be a double eye right here. Again, my experience in this game is still fairly new, so if I am making wrong calls right now, please call me out on it and just correct me. I'm a-okay with that. So, but yeah, Clossius did an amazing job just squeezing in black's territory all the way down, and so I can't wait to see more advanced games like this. This is this was a harder commentary for me because I could not read that far ahead. My skill level is not at a Dawn level just yet, and so I'm very excited to see more Dawn level playthroughs, and I hope you guys are too. So anyways, that's it for today's stream. Not stream, recording. I'm hoping that you guys enjoy this. This was a Dawn level playthrough. Black resigned, and Clossius turned out to be the victor, even though he was at a 6-point disadvantage. He gave up those 6 points. So until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next commentary.